Good morning, friends, and welcome to another Tasty Tuesday. This week we are going to be making soft pretzels, homemade soft pretzels. I hope you are ready to do some baking with me. You are going to need some all-purpose flour, granulated sugar, a packet of instant rapid rise yeast, some salt, 1 egg, and some warm water. Are you ready to bake with me? Friends, the first step in making our homemade soft pretzels is to dissolve 1 packet of rapid rise instant yeast in a large bowl with 1.5 cups of warm water. You want to make sure that you use warm water because that is what will activate your yeast to work properly. And you want to stir for about a minute with a spoon to make sure that it all mixes in well together. Most of your yeast, if not all of it, will have dissolved in your warm water. At this point, you are ready to add the next ingredients. So first, you want to add 1 teaspoon of salt, and you're going to want to use regular table salt. Your 1 teaspoon is the one that has a 1 followed by a T-E-A. This is your teaspoon, and it is smaller than your tablespoon, which is a 1 followed by T-A-B. So try not to get these, you don't want to get these confused, friends. I'm going to add my 1 teaspoon of salt. And now I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar. You want to pay attention, make sure that you don't mix up your salt with your sugar because baking is a science and it is all about the chemical reaction. So if you add the wrong amount of the wrong ingredient, you're going to mess up your chemical reaction and your soft pretzels won't turn out as nice. Once I have added that, I'm going to give it a stir just to get everything to mix together. Now it is time to add our flour. We're going to add our flour 1 cup at a time. Our 1 cup measuring cup is the biggest one and it has a 1, a C-U-P. This is our 1 cup. And remember, like in our other baking, we want to make sure that we level off the top. So my top is nice and flat on the top. This is what it means to level. And I'm going to add my 1 cup of flour in. I don't have a wooden spoon to use, but I am going to use my plastic spoon and I'm going to mix this together into my water, salt, sugar, and yeast mixture. Once this is nicely mixed together, I'm going to add another cup. Again, make sure to level off your measuring cup. There's my 2nd cup of flour. I'm gonna give this another stir. And you'll notice, friends, the more flour you add, the harder it'll be to stir and the more sticky your mixture will become. This is because we are making dough. And dough is sticky, a little bit like Play-Doh. All right. Now it is time to add my last cup. In goes my last cup. I'm going to give this a stir. You really need to add some muscle into it, friends, because it is starting to get gloopy and sticky, which is just what we want our dough to do. Friends, my dough is still sticky, so I am going to carefully add a 1/2 cup of flour. You can add up to 3/4 cup of flour at a time, but I like to take it nice and slow because your dough can go from sticky to not sticky pretty quickly. So I don't like to add too much flour because you don't want to mess up your ingredient ratios. Because remember, friends, baking is all about your chemical reaction. can tell it is still a little sticky. It's sticking more to the spoon than to itself. So I'm going to add another 1/4 cup of flour. And remember, our 1/4 cup is a 1 slanted line and a 4. It's probably the smallest measuring cup that you have in your kitchen. Again, I'm going to give this a stir. Try and get everything nice and mixed together. It's still sticky, so I'm going to add some more flour to it. So this right here was my 3rd 1/4 cup of flour. So hopefully this will do the trick. If your dough is still sticky, you can keep adding flour. I would suggest keeping with your 1/4 cup measuring cup, but you don't want to add too much more flour because again, it could mess up your dough and it might not do what it's supposed to do. All right, it is definitely not as sticky. Mix it in a little bit more. Scrape those sides. Friends, if your arms get tired, you can ask your grown-up for help. If your hands are super duper clean, friends, which they should be because we always start by washing our hands when we cook and bake, you can always use your hands to help mix up your dough a little bit. You don't want to overdo it because we're going to get to play with the dough a little bit later on. All right, friends, a good way to test to see if your dough is ready is to poke it with a finger, and if it bounces back, you are ready to go. I'm going to get my counter ready so that I can pour my dough out and get to kneading. You want to start, friends, by sprinkling a little bit of flour on your work surface. This is so that your dough does not stick to the work surface. Once you have put some dough on the counter, you are going to take your dough out of your bowl. And now comes the fun part of kneading it. So we are going to get to play with it just like we would if it was Play-Doh. So you're going to knead it around. We want to do this for about 3 minutes just to get it all nice mixed together. Make sure it's not sticky because there might be some little pockets of sticky dough left. Again, this is why it's important to put flour on your work surface so that way it doesn't stick to the table. Friends, once you are done kneading your dough, you are going to shape it into a ball, just like that. And then we want to divide this into pieces. And these pieces are going to be what you turn into your pretzel shape. So you want to make sure that your pieces aren't too small, but you also don't want them too big because then they are going to cook unevenly. So you want to try and cut this into as many equal pieces as you can. I find that using a pizza cutter works best for cutting your dough. Looks like I have about 9 pieces to work with. So for each piece, you want to make a long snake. So remember, we roll it using 2 hands. Friends, as you are rolling out your snake shape, as you're rolling, you want to slowly pull your hands apart, and that'll help make your snake even longer. Again, put your ends together. You're going to do a little twist. And there you go. Friends, here are my pretzels almost ready to go in the oven. As you can see, they are not all pretzel shaped, And even the ones that are pretzel shaped, some of them look a little silly, and that's okay, because the whole idea is for you to have fun playing with your dough, working on those hand muscles. I made a snake, I made a little cinnamon roll, and then the rest are some funky shaped looking pretzels. But it doesn't matter because they're still gonna be delicious. Before I put them in the oven though, I need to give them an egg wash. And what is an egg wash, you may ask? Egg wash, friends, is when you take one egg that has been really well beaten, and either with a small spoon or a pastry brush, you are going to brush your pretzels with egg. This is an egg wash. Now that I have given all of my pretzels their egg wash, I am going to add a little bit of coarse sea salt to a few of them, and then the rest I'm actually going to add some cinnamon sugar. Now that my pretzels have gotten their seasonings, they are ready to go in the oven. I am going to bake these at 425 degrees for about 10 minutes. Then I am going to switch my oven to the broiler part and allow them to broil for about 3 to 5 minutes. When your pretzels are under the broiler, friends, you really want to pay attention. We are looking just for a nice brown color on the tops of our pretzels, but if you let them go under for too long, your nice brown pretzels will get burnt. I cooked my pretzels for a little bit longer than 10 minutes just because some of mine are kind of big, but now that they are starting to brown, I'm going to switch my oven to broil, and I am going to keep a very close eye on them so that that nice golden brown color doesn't become a burnt black color. My pretzels are all finished. They have a nice golden brown color to the top, and when they're cool, don't do it when they're hot, but they are a nice crunchy top. I want to let these cool all the way, and then I can enjoy. Friends, if you make soft pretzels at home and you do different shapes, I would love to see what you came up with, and let me know what flavors you chose to add to the top. If you just did salt, if you did cinnamon sugar, if you tried something new altogether. I hope you enjoy our soft pretzels. This is a fun and easy recipe that you can make again and again.